Shabbat shalom. About 650 days ago, I was in Philadelphia, where I lived at the time. There's a beautiful recreation path along the Schuylkill River, very popular, lots of people passing by, and I was down putting up posters of October 7th hostages on light posts and the supports of bridges and stone walls, wherever I thought people were going to be jogging, walking, biking past. And an older couple passed by, and the woman stopped and turned to me and said, "Don't you think it's terrible what you're doing?" And I braced myself for, at best, a debate about the relative merits of defacing public property versus activist speech, but began patiently to explain, these are people who were kidnapped, taken from their homes on October 7th, and it's important to me to raise awareness. And she cut me off. She said, yes, I know all of that. Why are you painting over them? And I looked down at the white liquid that was dripping off the large paintbrush in my hand, and I said, "Oh no, you misunderstand. This is glue. It's going to dry clear. I'm using glue to make them harder for other people to rip down." And she smiled at me and said, "Well, make sure you put a lot." I got a text message from my mother-in-law about, maybe 4 or 5 minutes before candlelighting yesterday, sharing the news, as Rabbi Schwartz mentioned, that there's a deal that will, God willing, bring all of the hostages home. May they live and be well, and may the bereaved families be comforted. And I was left speechless. I didn't know what to say. And I haven't known what to say. But as I've sat with the news overnight and through the morning, I found my attention being drawn back to Psalm 27, which is traditionally recited in this high holiday season, beginning with Rosh Chodesh Elul, the month before Rosh Hashanah, and continuing all the way through the week of Sukkot. So I'll invite you to open your Siddurim to page 113 if you want to see the text. LeDavid, a psalm of David. Adonai is my light and my help, whom shall I fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life, whom shall I dread? When evil people assail me to devour my flesh, my enemies and those who besiege me, it is they who stumble and fall. Should an armed camp be arrayed against me, my heart would show no fear. If they were to go to war against me, of this I would be sure. There's a concrete security in those opening verses, a sense on the part of the psalmist that there are no earthly terrors that might shake his sense of God's protection, of God's blessing. But not quite. The psalm continues, Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota avakesh, shifti bevet Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot b'noam Adonai ulevaker behechalo. One thing I ask of Adonai, this is what I seek, to dwell in the house of God all the days of my life, to behold God's peacefulness and to pray in God's sanctuary. I ask, I seek those things that I don't think I already hold. And as we'll see, this ambivalence of security and doubt, of feeling protected and feeling vulnerable, is woven through this psalm. Ki itzpaneni b'suko b'yom ra'ah. In a time of calamity, you would hide me in your sukkah. Notice the timing of reciting this psalm. Right? God, hide me in your sukkah. Enfold me in the secret recesses of your tent, and you raise me up to a stronghold. Right? Please shelter me. Protect me from the uncertainties of the world. Now my head is raised high above my enemies round about, and I come with offerings amidst trumpet blasts to God's tent, chanting and singing praise to Adonai. That sense of security returns, the confidence. And then, Adonai, hear my voice as I cry out. Be gracious to me and answer me. Maybe not so confident. It is you of whom my heart said, seek my face. It is your presence I seek, Adonai. Do not hide your face from me. Do not act with anger toward me. You have always been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, my God, my deliverer. Am I secure in God's protection? Am I not? What will be tomorrow? What will the next day bring? Though my father and mother abandon me, Adonai will gather me in. And I think what he's trying to say here is the most unimaginable thing would be to be abandoned by a parent. Right? And we've watched the parents of our hostages hold their vigil through up and down and hope and disappointment and loss, and never let up. And there's a prayer here, like, God, your deliverance is even more sure than that of my parents. Show me your way, Adonai, and lead me on a straight path despite those arrayed against me. Do not hand me over to those who besiege me, for false witnesses who breathe hatred have risen against me. Lulei ha'amanti lirot b'tuv Adonai be'eretz chayim. If only I could trust that I would see God's goodness in the land of the living. ... Place your hope in Adonai. Be strong and take courage, and place your hope in Adonai. This psalm is the voice of this season. What will a new year bring? I pray for a year that is better than the year that I've had, but I don't know. And the almost 2 years that we have waited for our hostages to come home have been years of yearning, have been years of hope and relief at the scenes of reunion, scenes of grief at those we learned would not be coming home alive. I met Hirsch Goldberg Polin around the time of his bar mitzvah. For about 10 years, the extended Polin family, John's mother and the siblings and their children were all part of the Passover community at Camp Ramah in Georgia, where my family spends the holiday. And he became close with my nephews, who are the same age. Right, and with every poster I hung, whoever's face was there, I was thinking about Hirsch. And when we would pray for the return of hostages, I would pray for all of them with Hirsch in my heart. And he didn't come back in this world. And yet I can't help just hoping that we can see, God willing soon, pictures of families embracing those who they couldn't know. And that in all of this hardship, that we can see God's sheltering presence. That we can believe not only in divine protection, but in the strength of the human spirit. That all of our families, the family of the Jewish people, may be whole once more. And that this year that is beginning should dawn upon us with kindness, with comfort, and with peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.